All right. Hi guys. Today I just want to go over really quickly some tips and tricks for doing a layout, this layout and graphics for a research paper or for a portfolio. So here on my screen I kind of have an example that I've started to put together that I'm going to walk through with you. So I'm going to start a new document and show you how I did this. Before I do that, I want to draw your attention to the toolbars I have along this perimeter and sort of the lack thereof. So if you open up your InDesign file and it looks like this, and you're wondering where all of my toolbars went, all it's because your workspace is sent to Essentials. So all you need to do is click this drop down and hit Advanced, and then all of your fun toolbars will pop back up. So I know that's been frustrating for me when I would open InDesign sometimes. So that's how that's done. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and hit File, New, Document. And I talked with you guys a little bit last time about thinking about what size you want to do your book at, what format, and for today's example, I'm just going to do a horizontal 8.5 by 11. Let's change this to inches so that you can see that, just to keep things a little simple. I'm going to start with 20 pages and I'm going to make them facing because we're doing a book. Down here, I have my margin set. They're always automatically set to 0.5. I've broken my link so that my inside is 1.5 inches, and I'm going to show you guys why I'm doing that here in just a minute. So my inside is now 1.5 inches, and I do that because this is a book and people might be thumbing through it. You might be binding it in such a way that you can't open it flat, depending on the way you want to bind it. And it's also to remind myself to leave some white space. So I want you guys to think about, as you're putting your layout together, like, don't fill the entire page. Think about that white space that you want to have. Um, I'm going to show you some example books from previous years. So look at the amount of white space around the images and the text. So these people definitely are not filling that whole page. They're really drawing your eye towards a specific area. If you fill up the whole page and you've got a collage of things going on, it's kind of like playing Where's Waldo. Like, no one's going to know what to look at. So you want to be mindful of that, and don't fill your page whatever you do. It'll drive people nuts. So that's kind of why I did that here. So I've got my 20 pages all facing. I have one parent set up. So I'm going to go ahead and um, duplicate this a couple of times. And I'm going to leave my A parent blank. And so I'll actually just go ahead and rename that. So I'll go down to, I'll right click and hit parent options. And I'm just going to call this blank. And you can even, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but you can even change it to be one. So maybe you only want one page. You don't want to see the whole spread. Sometimes it depends on the way that you're laying out your book. Okay, so B parent, I'm going to call this, let's go to parent options. I'm going to call this title. So this is going to be my title page, my title master page. And I'm going to change this one to say body. So this is going to be my body paragraph. So all of the text, the text and the images. So I'm going to have title and I'm going to have body. I think last time I talked to you guys about um, having master pages for every chapter. You can do that too. I'm going to go through a different example here today, but in this previous document that I did, I had a master for every chapter. So there's chapter 2, there's chapter 3, and then I just went down here to my pages and dragged and dropped. This was the only thing down here that was changing. And so that worked out fine too. Let me go back to this one. So over here, my title page, is essentially going to be, let me show you this example. It's essentially going to be this page right here. And then I'm going to have another master for this page for the body and the images. Okay, so and then my blank one can go for, you know, the front cover and maybe the table of contents. Um, and then, once you get into the bulk of it, you can change it up. So here on my title, I might just do some text here in the middle. So let's say, oh, you know what? I actually want to put this, let's get my layers going. So we'll say title block. Let's see, we want a few. I'm going to call this one images and this one text. We'll call this one guides for those like blue guides that you pull from the rulers. And I'm going to make actually one more and call this shapes. Um, and I think this one I'm going to put on my text layer because I know I'm going to be changing this a lot. So let's go over here. I'm going to change, you know, find a font that you like. I am very particular about fonts, and so I actually purchase my own, or find free places to download them from. Let's do regular. So I want you to think about I want you to think about the type of font that you want to use, and think about choosing a font specifically for titles and then one for body. So for the eye, it's easier on the eye if you choose a body font that's like Arial or Times New Roman or Helvetica, something very simple. And then for title, like I'm doing here, you can do something with more of a serif on it. So something a little fancier, something that um, may look a little bit more decorative. Don't go too crazy. Don't do like some wingdings or something like that gets a little too nuts. But you can do something a little nicer than Times New Roman or Arial. Like try and pick something else for your title. Doing that for your body font is fine, but we don't want to look too boring. Okay, so we're gonna say chapter 1, relationship to context. I'm not sure if that's your title, your chapter 1 or not, but and then, we also want to think about, like, again, drawing the eye to this, thinking about design. Like everything you guys do, you're gonna have to think about how you're presenting, how it looks. Like you can't just, architecture goes so much further than just designing a building. Like everything you touch has to be or should be designed and thought about. So that relates also to here. So I'm gonna center this, and then then I'm gonna use my, what else I'm gonna do? So I just centered this, but you can also I can center it vertically and horizontally. So right here, this button says align center. So right now it's aligned to the top. So you just hit that, so this way we can get this text directly in the middle here. Um, okay, so another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line here. So I'm going to put this on my shapes layer, make this black. And another thing I like to do is add some colors over here. So you've got your typical black and, you know, red, green, blue, pink, whatever. So I'm going to add a couple new swatches. And I like to go in like even numbers. So I'll call this 80, and this will be, 80% down here. So this just kind of like creates your shades of gray. So which is kind of nice to make some distinguishing area so that everything's not the same shade. So do not forget to do this. And you can do, whatever numbers you want. Sometimes 90% is nice. Sometimes I like to add a 90% one. So let's see, let's do 40. Okay. So now that line, I do actually want this line to be black. And maybe we make this at a 0.5. Okay, let's see how that looks. 0.5 is too small. Let's do 1. Okay, so once you kind of have a design, format for your title page, maybe actually, so another thing you can do is change the spacing between your lines, which I really like to do in certain locations. So right here, you can change that to 36 to 30, which is probably what it was at before, 48. So that kind of helps when sometimes things are a little bit, just a tiny bit too close together, especially if it's a title or something. You just kind of want to separate it by, just a smidgen. Um, okay, so now this is, so and remember, we're in our master title page. So if we wanted to drag and drop that down here, we can drag and drop that, multiple areas. And then let's say this spreads 10 and 11, actually that's going to be chapter 2, let's say. So I can just go over here, double click on page B, which, is number 11 down here. Hit Control Shift and click. In fact, let me get us out of this mode. So again, remember this is all dashed right now. So that means that you can't edit it. You have to, because it's on the master. So you have to hit Control Shift and then click, and that'll make it editable. It won't change what's on the master, but it'll only change on that page. So I can go in here and hit chapter 2, and let's see, relation, looks like we're missing a ship. I forget what your guys' stuff was. Let's see, what is chapter 2? Let's do this right, even though this is just a tutorial. Ooh, these are some long chapters. All right, here's chapter 2. Oh, that's so long. Precedent, typology, and archetype. Might need to make that smaller. Precedent, typology, archetype. So you guys see how InDesign is also saying like, hey, you're spelling this wrong. I would always make sure, guys, that you guys have spelling layout check or spelling check on, because if you don't, then there will be so many spelling mistakes in your project. I can't even tell you. And I forget where that was at. File. Okay, I might have to show you. Just Google it, because it's in one of these tabs. Oh, here, right here, spelling. So I have dynamic spelling checked. You need to make sure you have a check mark next to that, and then it'll, have the red squigglies when you are misspelling something. So then you can check it there. So since this is, not on my master anymore, I need to make sure that's straight and centered. Okay, so we've got chapter 2 there. And notice, chapter 1 is still the same, and it's still the same on this page too. So then here I could, again, hit Control Shift to change that to chapter 3. We're not going to do that because I think you guys get the point. Okay, so moving on, I want to show you guys how to add some page numbers. So right here, let's go back to our workspace. One thing I like to do, I'm going to show you this document really quick. I like to put my page numbers down here in the corner. So see how this page number is outside of my, 1/2 inch margin. And I like to do that because I want those page numbers to be, on that edge. I don't want it to be part of the body of of that book. So what I'd like to do here, let's go to my layers, make sure we're on the guides layers. And I'm going to bring a guide over and I'm going to put this at 0.25. So when I drag and drop, sometimes it'll snap and to a nice even dimension, and sometimes it doesn't. So I just go over here and say 0.25, and then it'll put it at 0.25 for me. And same thing down here. We're going to go 8.25. And over here too. So, oh, that one snapped. Snapped to the right spot. It did. Nice. Okay, this one, 8.25. That one snapped. Nice. Okay, so this is, the beginning. This is a master that we want to put page numbers on. We want page numbers to be visible on pages, that these are applied to. So I'm going to go to my title block layer. I'm going to, and in order to do this, you need to just create a text box first. So I would make this text box your body font. So whatever your body font is, I would find that and make that your also your page numbers. Here we go. I have multiple essential sans. I want to find regular. There we go. Okay. So here's my text box. I'm going to say O1, hit escape, and I'm going to move this text box to be where I want it to be. Let's make it smaller. And since I want that number to be right on these guides, there we go, good enough. Okay. I like to hit W a lot to get that print preview. That looks okay. Okay, so now what I want you to do, now that you have that just typical text box with, a number in it, select it and go to type, insert special character, go to markers. I think I need to have it selected actually. There we go. Type, insert special characters, markers. Yeah, so you have to have the text selected. And put current page number. So this is saying that this text box will always contain the current page number that it's associated with. And then hit escape. So now that this text box is associated, we actually can just copy it and paste it. So I'm going to hit Alt and drag a copy over to this other page. And this one I want to be right justified. So I'm going to right justify it and put it, I'm going to Control Z actually. I want to make sure that I hit Shift as I drag so I'm not moving it. So when you hit Shift and drag, it'll drag it straight, which is really important. You don't want, as people are thumbing through, you don't want the number to be like bouncing all over the page. You got to keep it straight. Okay. So we've got these two text boxes that have, insert current page number associated on our C body. So I'm going to drag and drop this onto these pages right here. And actually, let's put this back to B. Okay, let me put also to these ones right here. Okay, so say A, is going to be our table of contents. And then right here, we're going to get into our book, which right now it's saying this is page 8 and this is page 9. But we don't really want to do that because we want it to say page 1. These are all the pre-pages. So what you can do is we're going to go back down here. So this is page 8. And for some reason, you have to do it on you have to do it on the right-hand page. So what I would do, well, let me show you what I'm doing first. You can go over here to say, so right click on that page you want to start with, number 1, and go to numbering and sections options. And this will start a new section. And so that's how you're going to change your page numbers to start over again. So we're going to start a new section. We're going to start it at 1. And I always like to start with a 0 just because, I like to have the same amount of spaces. So when it goes to 10 and 20, your text box isn't jumping all over the place. So, okay, so 0, 1. So now we're going to say, okay. So now right here, see on the side, this is 8, and then it says 0, 1. So if we zoom in, that page now says 0, 1. And then over here, you can either drag a new master or you can hit Control Shift and then just delete it. Okay, so let's go, well, really quickly, let me show you this example over here. So I did this to my own portfolio, and I've got a million guides on here, don't ask me why. So this is my table of contents page, I have my title page, and I have all of my page numbers over here on the left, and then I'm starting down here with page 1 on my resume. And then it's going on from there. And you'll notice I also have a bleed put on my pages in case some of these pages, I think in some areas I might have like a full spread. So um, y- there's so many possibilities. I mean, the nice thing about InDesign is it's like you can do so many things. You can just like place things wherever you want. You can have bleeds. You can like go all the way into the margin. You can be restricted to certain margins if you want. Possibilities are endless. So I'm going to go over these question marks here with you in a minute. But first, okay, so we've got the beginnings of our book here. I'm going to show you really quick the body that that I was going to do. And I think, we're running a little low on time. So I'm going to show you a neat trick that I like to do. We'll start with this page. Let's go back to W. Okay, so I already have all my guides set up here that I, decided that I liked, and text boxes and whatnot. So and say you're doing this and you want to copy it. So I want to copy all of this from, let's just do so this is just a frame. We'll do the frame, and for some reason you have to select the guides separately. We'll do the guides first. And you can hit copy. And let's go to the body, hit paste in place. Okay. So it's nice you can like copy from, document to document. You can even bring pages over. You can even like move pages from one document to another, which is kind of cool sometimes. Okay, so let's actually bring this over. So I've got in my book, I've decided, I want all of my images to the top. I want them all, closer to the right. And then down here, I want to have all of my text boxes. And so one thing you can do, I know you guys are pretty far along, so you might already have the text. If you don't have the text and you're just kind of doing your layout, before you're all the way done, I like to go to this lorem ipsum generator, and this will generate, you can put in how many paragraphs you want to do, and it'll, generate that verbiage so that you can kind of get content in there that actually looks, the nice thing about lorem ipsum is it looks like words, like, you view it as words, so it's not distracting. Don't think you can do this for your final project though, because I'm sure your professor will actually read the content. So I have a text box and I'm gonna hit paste because I copied all of that from that web page. And so then it puts my text. I'm gonna size my box a little bit. I know that I want to have 3 columns. So I've already sort of predetermined what that size should be. So I'm going to go over here and change that. I know that it's not linked, so that's good because I want the height to remain the same. And I'm going to say 2.5 inches. Okay, so now my first column is the size that I want it. It's the height that I want it, but I've got so much text, so much text. You guys will too, I'm sure. So I'm going to hit this plus button right here, and it's going to open up a new box. And this is a nice way, it's also fun to link it. So then you can, because sometimes you're putting in the content and you're formatting at the same time. So if some of your text is linked, then it's nice because you don't have to keep, copying and pasting or like moving things around. You can just change the size of the box and the font will follow. So in talking about fonts, right? Notice, I've chosen um a nice, like a very like slim font that does not have like an extreme amount of serifs that go all over the place. It's just kind of simple. One thing you can do in InDesign, I'm not going to go over this, but you can look into it, is changing your paragraph styles. You can have like multiple paragraph styles so that as you're going through things, you can have font or text everywhere and you can apply the paragraph style to it, and then it'll automatically change um, to whatever that paragraph style is set to. So one thing that's nice to do in there is in your paragraph styles. I am not going to go through this today, the paragraph styles, but I want you to all take off your hyphenation. So as you see, it's automatically hyphenated. It's really annoying to read. So take it off. So up here, those three lines, click on that and then go to hyphenation and uncheck that box. Please, please, please. Let's go through that again. Select your text or change this in your paragraph style. Hit those 3 lines, go to hyphenation, and uncheck the box. Woohoo! Now it looks so much better. Now you can read it without an annoying amount of like hyphens everywhere. Um, okay, so I'm gonna end this video right here, and start a part 3 that goes in greater detail about the images and the text, because I think that's important too. But for those of you that are like, all right, I'm good, I got it, I want to fly, that's great. Fly away. You're going to do great. All right. See you guys soon.